Hey there. Let me guess. You clicked on this video when you're supposed to be doing something else. Listen, no judgment, all right? You've come to the channel of the queen of procrastination, or at least the former queen of procrastination. I think I have abdicated the throne. And part of that is because I have improved my time management skills, but another part of that, and a really big part of that, is that I have really changed my perspective on procrastination and how much of a problem it really is. So, if you clicked on this, I'm guessing that procrastination is a really big pain point for you in your life. And I'm also guessing that you've probably watched a lot of content about procrastination, how to fix it, why it's bad, why you shouldn't do it, why you should feel bad about yourself for procrastinating. This is not going to be that video, okay? In fact, if anything, this video is to give you permission to procrastinate. It's to ask you, is procrastination really a problem? I want you to really sit with that question for a moment. Is procrastination really a problem? Now, your knee jerk reaction may be, yeah, it is a problem. I can't get anything done. And you know what? Okay, listen, that is legit. I'm not saying that procrastination is never a problem. I'll give you an example from my own life. Back when I was an undergrad, I was an English major for a time until I switched my major to art. And when I was an English major, I think I turned in maybe 2 papers on time in my entire undergrad career. And that's because I mismanaged my time. I was missing deadlines. I was getting hits to my grades because of my procrastination problem. In that case, yeah, it was a problem. But if you have a tendency to procrastinate in that you leave work to the last minute, but you're still getting things done on time based on deadlines that are set for you or that you set for yourself, and your work quality is still up to a good enough standard. It may not be perfect, but it's good enough to get you the results that you want. Is it really a problem? Objectively speaking, is it a problem? Because if you're getting your work done on time and it's to a good enough level to achieve whatever it is that you want to be achieving with your goals or with your work, whether that's good grades or, you know, hitting whatever benchmarks at work you're trying to hit, is it a problem? Uh, Again, I will reiterate, there are plenty of times that procrastination is a problem. If you're missing deadlines at school or work, that's a problem. If you are putting off starting your YouTube channel or your art business or, your side hustle, your personal project, your home renovation, whatever the fuck that you're putting off because it doesn't have a deadline and like nobody's holding your feet to the fire. Nobody's going to be disappointed if you don't do it. And so you just keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. That's also a problem for sure. I want you to be living the life that you want instead of procrastinating on it. But if you are doing everything that you want to be doing, you're just in that mad dash at the end. I ask you again, is that really a problem? I'm going to give you another example from my life. So I mentioned undergrad. I'm currently in grad school. And this past semester, I had a lot of work that I left up until the very end of the semester. Now, this was not my plan, okay? Going into the semester, actually, before the semester even started, I sat down with all of my syllabi for my classes, looked at my assignments, broke them down into pieces, and scheduled out when I was going to do each piece of each assignment. And I did not stick to that schedule at all. Part of that is because I was playing with a new scheduling format of having like A weeks and B weeks. So like A weeks would be academic weeks and then B weeks would be business weeks, and I like go back and forth. And that just did not work with my school schedule, and I realized that a little bit too late in the game. And then also like, partway through the semester I was just like dealing with some feelings. But I mean, for the most part, me not sticking to the schedule that I set for myself with the best of intentions was well within my control. It wasn't due to external circumstances. It was something that I could have fixed if I had wanted to. But I didn't want to. Looking back, I didn't want to. And you know what? I didn't need to. because my work got done, and it got done on time, and it got done to a level where I am finishing my first year of grad school with straight A's. So, is that really a problem? No. Because the other thing too is that I didn't even really like sacrifice any sleep either, you know? Yeah, I was working later than I normally would, but I was still going to bed at like a semi reasonable time. I was still getting close to a full night of sleep every night. I was still eating and hydrating and going outside. I just was like working more than normal. And like, but that was only the case for like 2 weeks, if that, really more like just a week, you know? So again, is that really a problem? No. I would say it's a preference, okay? Because you may be listening to this and thinking, but Laura, like you said that you were going to do it more chunked out so that you wouldn't have to deal with that like stress and scramble at the end. And so you wouldn't have to have long work days at the end of the semester. And that is true. Okay. I would love to be able to avoid that going forward. However, that doesn't mean it's a problem. It just means it's a preference. And since it's a preference, I'm choosing not to like beat myself up over the fact that I didn't do it. And I'm going to implore you to do the same. To not beat yourself up for not meeting intermediate deadlines that you may have set for yourself from a place of preference, okay? Now, again, like this doesn't mean that you can't work towards living by your preferences, and I think you should. I think I should, you know. Just because I wasn't able to do it this semester doesn't mean I'm not going to try again next semester to be better at my time management and be able to stick to those intermediate deadlines that I set. And I'm certainly not going to do the AB schedule thing again because that did not work. My point is, this isn't worth stress. It's not worth beating myself up over not achieving. It's not worth making it mean something about myself. It's not worth creating this story of like, oh my God, I'm such a failure because I let my work build up to the last minute and I still got it done on time. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm just sharing this with you because I wish somebody had told this to me back when I was in my 20s and I was over consuming like self-help and personal development and productivity content, you know, where like procrastination is seen as a huge, huge problem to be solved. And again, like I really, once again, I'm going to reiterate, I'm not saying that it's never a problem, but I'm saying use your discernment. Get really so honest with yourself. Is it really a problem? Objectively speaking, is your life really worse if you leave some work up to the last minute? Or could it be that perhaps it like doing that makes the work more exciting and more fun because now it's a race against the clock, right? Like if you're neurodivergent, if you have ADHD, it's pretty commonly understood that procrastination is a huge problem for folks with ADHD. Some of that has to do with time blindness, some of that has to do with, you know, other stuff, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that like that adrenaline rush is kind of the thing that you need to get over that activation energy, get over the hump of starting, right? Having that like looming deadline that like, okay, that adrenaline rush, that dopamine, like you need that to start. And like, why fight that? If that's you, why fight that? Why not just work with it? And there are other ways that you can work with it that don't mean leaving, you know, a 20-page paper to start the day before. I highly recommend using timers. Okay, I use an app called Finch, and you can not only like it not only has focus timers in there, but you get like points, so you get that dopamine hit as soon as you finish your 10, 20, 30-minute timer. And you can use those points to like buy little things for your Finch and whatever. Highly recommend the app, especially if you have ADHD or some other, you know, neurodiversity. And even if you don't, it's a great app. Okay. But anyway, you can approximate that rush without leaving things up to the last minute. And at the same time, if you don't do that and you do leave things up to the last minute, but you get it done, maybe it's not a problem. Okay? Um, that's all I have to share with you today. I hope that this video has given you permission to like unclench your butthole. I hope that this video has given you permission to stop beating yourself up about something that society has told you is a problem if you are now realizing that it's not actually a problem for you. I could say the same things that I've said about this on the topic of being a night owl as well. I think that our society like super over glamorizes being an early riser and for some reason demonizes being a night owl. I used to really, really beat myself up about being a night owl and like having a natural body clock that I want to go to sleep around 1 or 2 and sleep until 9 or 10. And I used to really beat myself up about that, and I don't anymore because I realized that it's not a problem for me. It may be a problem to some other people, and who gives a shit about those people? Not me. It doesn't bother me. It's also highly genetic, your chronotype, and my family is full of night owls. It's not just me, okay? Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. So, there you go. All right. That's all I have to say. Happy Sunday. I'll see you again on Wednesday. Take care. Bye.